Being a parent is stressful and expensive, especially if you're a single mom.
We don't get to do any fun stuff that we'd like to do. We don't get to travel. We don't get to, go to restaurants or order pizzas or do any of those things that a lot of people get to do with their kids.
According to the Census Bureau, childcare costs for working mothers rose more than 70% nationwide from 1985 to 2011.
I want him to be happy and healthy and smart and do well. And sadly, as a single mom, you see the statistics that doesn't happen a lot for our kids.
In some cases, high childcare costs prevent parents from breaking the cycle of poverty.
Experts say in order to break the cycle of poverty, state and federal governments need to provide more child care assistance to families.
Single women have the hardest time of all. More than 40% of women who had families are now living in poverty. More than 40%. It's almost half, Lewis. This is the United States, right? I think it is. The news on women's earnings continue to be just as dismal. Women working full-time year-round continue to be paid only 77 cents for every dollar paid to their male counterparts. So this is a bad situation.
People living off the system, not wanting to work, women being lazy, having multiple children, and that really wasn't the reality for the women who were actually impoverished. And so when we look at the kind of policies that result, or the TANF policy, the welfare reform policy that we got on the other end, we got a policy that said, well, you can't, if you don't work, you can't receive benefits, and you have time limits, and if you have another child, you're penalized. Those policies and that restrictiveness was counter to the everyday lived experiences of the women who were actually receiving the benefits. So what was excluded from that policy was a clear pathway out of poverty, like education.
I thought I was going to be in college. I was always those type of kids that wanted to go to college. Actually, the day I left Lowe's, I had to leave because my son was having an asthma attack in school. So I pretty much got fired. They're always being sick. My son takes like 4 meds a day. My other son was just diagnosed with ADHD, so he was always being kicked out of daycare. Today I started at Walmart. I'm going to be making $8.20 an hour as a cashier. Right now I'm basically living day to day. There's a lot of stresses. The county right now is funding my daycare. If I didn't have that, it would be about $50 a week. It all depends on your family size. And right now I pay $5 a week. I want to go back to school and the highest thing I want to do is be an RN, but I know that's hard. So I want to take baby steps, like do medical assistant, and then once I get that, I just want to be able to get by. To be honest, I don't have any hope. I'm basically looking at everything day by day, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. If I had my dream come true, I'd have a car, a working one. I'd live in a good neighborhood with my kids. I'd have a job. And even if I didn't have a spouse and it was just me and my kids, I'd be perfectly fine with that, as long as I had a good paying job and all of that. Basically the dream anybody would want.
Food stamps it's very helpful right now. It's a necessity.
But finding healthy food in this neighborhood is hard. The only place to buy it within a half mile is the corner store, which was the site of a recent homicide. And like many in her shoes, Mercedes doesn't have a car, so she takes the bus to the supermarket. Despite the fact that 46 million Americans receive food stamps, there is still a stigma.
It feels so degraded. When I go to the state building, how they treat people, they think that everybody that's on government assistance is wasting it on drugs or doing something that's not worthy of being respected.
But for now, the government assistance she receives is how there's food on the table.
I want to be financially stable and be able to sustain myself and my children. I want to give them more.
Thank you for shouldering not only your own burdens, but ours as well. It definitely wasn't easy, especially since Michael and I were difficult growing up, with me fighting you tooth and nail about everything, and Michael's developmental issues. I don't know how you did it.
Did it out of love.